smallest being to order, rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. The first item is to recognize the departure of our Public Works Director, Ian Hammer.
As we all know Ian, we wanted to congratulate him. He's moving on in his local government profession from Horsham, but we wanted to take the time this evening to recognize him and thank him. I sent council many emails over his years with us of residents thanking him. Ian had great communication skills, written and verbal, in dealing with our residents and businesses. And I can tell you, even though it was a short time, 3 years, we got a lot of compliments from residents on how Ian dealt with them. So even though it was a short time and we certainly will miss him, we want to thank him for his service to our township, to our residents, to our businesses. He did a great job, took care of the township during the snow events, during rain events, during tree events. His last day with us was actually last Friday, and Thursday night he was out on our roads with trees down, wires down. Didn't stop at all during his time with us. So we thank him for his service, and we congratulate him on his new position, and wish him well in his future.
Very good. Well, Ian, we do have a proclamation to give to you tonight, and just want to thank you for your service to us. I know it's been a short, 4 years about, but your reputation is precedes you with this. It's been you've just done a wonderful job, and we can't thank you enough for what you've done for us. And we're sad you're leaving, because it's a big loss for us. But I know that you always have to look to the future, to your betterment in life, and we do wish you well. We know you'll do well, and best of luck to you. So with this proclamation, we're here today to express our appreciation to Ian R. Hammer and to honor him for his time with Horsham Township and his dedicated service to the residents of Horsham. Ian began his career with Horsham Township in 2018 as Assistant Director of Public Works and was promoted to Director of Public Works in 2019. Ian is credited with implementing our Horsham Pickleball Club, constructing a new pavilion at the Kohler Park soccer fields, assisting with the installation of the outdoor fitness court, and spent countless hours ensuring the safety of our residents and businesses during the winter seasons. On behalf of the entire Township of Horsham, we want to express our sincere appreciation to Ian for his dedication over the past 3 years, and wish him much happiness as he begins this new exciting chapter in your life. And we've all signed it, and I'm sure we all want to congratulate you on your success here and in the future. Thank you very much. Anything you need to say?
I would just like to thank all of you. It's been a pleasure. I know it was a short time. I've learned a lot, but I couldn't have learned it without the support of all you guys. You always provide everything my department needed, and it's been a great leadership, and I will miss it.
Well, again, congratulations, and if we come up here for a couple pictures. Ready where they need to be? Slide this way. Yep. Every time. You really should put X's on the car markers.
That's a good idea. You don't have to do this every time. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Get the film.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
sure you hang that proud in your new office.
Ian, best of luck.
Human.
Okay, so now we're going to hold a public hearing. So I want to call the hearing to order. This public hearing is a hearing on a proposed ordinance which would authorize the grant of a permanent easement in favor of Pico Energy Company to allow the installation of electric transmission and distribution facilities and associated appurtenances along County Line Road on the Strawbridge property. This ordinance was introduced at the June 9th, 2021 council meeting and has been legally advertised for consideration this evening. I will now ask Mr. Gadea Walker to provide a description of the work to be done by Pico. Mr. Walker.
As council knows, this is a very minor situation where Pico has to relocate a pole for PennDOT's project on County Line Road. And on the picture below, you can see this guide wire coming down from the pole. The pole itself will be located in the PennDOT legal right-of-way. So the issue becomes this anchor cable has to be located on our township property. Thus, PennDOT is requiring Pico to obtain an easement from the township for them to put their cable anchor on our property. And that's just another location. This is the North Wales Interconnect. This is the driveway going back to Graham Park. And this is the location of the pole across from the self-storage center that used to be Happy Times.
Pretty simple. Are there any questions from the council members? Any questions from the audience member? Okay, appears there's no public comment, so council will consider this ordinance later this evening and later in the meeting. Thank you, and this hearing is closed. Next item is opportunity for questions or comments from the audience member. Nothing? So an update on the COVID-19 bill?
So the positivity rates are pretty good in Montgomery County. As you see, Horsham Township's positivity rate is 0.54%. Montgomery County's is 0.67%. And the vaccination rate for the state, 61.3% of all people 16 and older have been fully vaccinated, and 76.5% of people in the state 16 and over have been partially vaccinated. And our state is ranked, out of the 50 states, our state is ranked number 9 with the vaccination rate.
Any questions? Next is an update on the PFAS issue.
Okay, as you know, only the items in red are what's new since the last 30 days. So in our remediation action plan with wells 10, 17, and 21, our Water and Sewer Authority is expecting to go out to bid in late July. The advertisement for the bid has been delayed in order to make electrical design modifications so that well 21 existing building can be demolished. And it goes same as the next bullet. So well 21, the pump removal has also been delayed, and they are awaiting an updated schedule for the removal of the pump, but all of it's related to the electrical design modifications. Well 26, as of today, has had 5 changeouts. North Wales Water Authority, they were non-detect in May, and the Aqua PA Interconnect was 3.3 parts per trillion combined on April 19th. Private wells, those wells below 70 parts per trillion, these are not the wells that are being connected through the MIRIA grant funding to our authority. These are the wells that the Navy has determined that are below 70 parts per trillion that they are going to connect. So there's 46 properties affected, and 35 have accepted, 3 have rejected, and of course there's outgoing outreach to the remaining properties that have not responded yet. Our treatment plant, Park Creek Treatment Plant, is averaging 26.7 parts per trillion combined for effluent. The June 2021 effluent was 14 parts per trillion combined, and this is the first time since March of 2020 that the effluent, which is what's leaving our plant going into Park Creek, was below 20 parts per trillion. As you can see, the influent, what's coming into the plant, the latest test results for May 2021 are 66 parts per trillion combined. The MIRIA grant funding projects to our water and sewer authority, the MIRIA grant funding is funding up to 70 connections, private well connections. 66 have accepted the offers, and 36 properties have been connected to date out of the 70. The water main extensions that also the grant, MIRIA grant funding is funding. Watson Avenue at Columbia, it's about a 150-foot extension. Construction began on July 6th in advance of the township paving project. You might have seen a lot of staging equipment at our new property, the old elementary school property. That is the Water and Sewer Authority contractor's staging area for this project. They've had supply chain issues, as we all know. Housing and construction and everything is being affected by supply chain issues, but it is affecting their extensions on McKean Road and Walsh Road. Phase 2 of their water main extensions, the design survey had been delayed. As you know, Montgomery County had their bridge on Davis Grove Road under construction. That's now done and open, so the Water Authority is now in the process of conducting site visits to each property to prepare plans and specs for bidding. And again, they're concerned about the supply chain issues for that part of their project too. The Navy Stormwater Management Update, as of July 14th, more than 13.33 million gallons have been treated at their pump and treat system at Hangar 680. Their storm sewer piping project, their contractors continue to work on that. Over 2,000 feet of metal piping has been replaced, and the contractors continue to work on regrouting other piping joints. And then the permeable reactive barrier, we have a draft license agreement that we're going back and forth with the Navy on wording that'll be in front of you in your next couple council meetings. And this plume stop that they want to do at the end of their property on Keith Valley Road is to attempt to try to block some of the groundwater that's going through the soil itself, not traveling on top, but going through the soil before it reaches the Park Creek. It's a method that has only been used in Canada, but credit to the Navy that they're trying a pilot program and to see if this is going to help. But in order to do it, they need to drill 2 monitoring wells on our property across the street from Keith Valley, on Keith Valley Road. So we're working out that license agreement. It should be ready for you, like I said, in the next month or at the latest August, for you to consider that license agreement for the monitoring wells. The Air Guard, as you know, they have been constructing a permanent treatment plant next to the detention basin, and that startup is scheduled for sometime between July 19th and 23rd is when the startup is scheduled for. The wastewater discharge permit between the Water and Sewer Authority and the Air National Guard. So the 5th draft was issued this month in July. And the only issue that the National Guard Bureau left had that on what our authority gave them was provisions for fines. They believe federal law that they do not incur fines, or the authority cannot put fines against them. So just to move this forward, they agreed to everything else that the authority put in the draft. That was the only comment. So just to move this forward and get a permit established, the authority is removing the fines, the language of fines, and then hopefully they will have a permit established with the National Guard Bureau. Some updates. So the next RAB meeting is September 15th, 2021 at 6 p.m. As of this meeting, they plan on doing a virtual meeting. We asked them not to do that. We want it back in person, whether it's at the community center or at the library. They said, at least for this one, it's going to be virtual again. My hope is that they do not keep them virtual. I don't think it's too open and transparent, easy for residents to ask questions. So hopefully their next one, which is usually in December, will be in person. But I think they've come accustomed to liking these virtual meetings, especially since a lot of their consultants and staff has to come from Washington for the meeting. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that they do go back in person in December. The kickoff meeting, as you know, the Pennsylvania Department of Health multi-site national health study, which we've talked about for the last couple years, they finally have a kickoff community meeting. It's August 25th at 7 p.m. It'll go 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. I do not have a location for that yet. They do not have a location for that yet where they want to meet. So that'll be the kickoff, and then in September is when the real push will be out in the communities: Horsham, Warrington, Warminster, and then approximately 8 or 9 surrounding communities. To get 1,000 adults and 300 children's blood. So we'll really be pushing that on their behalf starting after Labor Day. MIRIA, the Military Installation, Remediation, and Infrastructure Authority, they're working on two things. As you know, part of the statute and the law allows them economic development and transportation issues after water remediation is addressed. So what they're looking at for is a market opportunity analysis for a sport recreation facility, and just a phase one, which is a concept development, a market opportunity analysis, and a recommended facility details. And then they're also looking at the former Willow Grove Naval Air Base traffic studies. So part of this Act 101 of 2019 addresses transportation and economic development issues for the future redevelopment of the Navy base. And in order for MIRIA to do a project just like us and apply for monies, and they can apply for debt, they can apply for grants, and they need to have a study that shows, the intersections, what intersections are going to be affected by the redevelopment. So in future meetings of council meetings, Larry and MIRIA will be coming to you and their consultants, just so council's kept updated to know what's going on and what are they working on, and have input and questions on things. So we'll be giving you presentations in the future on both of those.
Quick question, just could you give me an example? Could you give me an example of what the sport recreation facility would look like? What is that all about?
Yeah, if you go around, and my kids are not in travel teams, or at least not yet. But there's major privately owned. Some of them are privately owned. Some of them on municipal land and privately owned. But the Navy base calls for a sports recreation area on the Navy base, and what it's looking at is the market. What's here now? What do you have? The feasibility, and this is just phase one of a feasibility study. So it's very general. It's not detailed. It's not specific, but it's looking at that type of facility. Can it work here? So that's what that's looking at. And then finally, the Temple University.
Bill.
Oh, sorry.
Can I ask a question? When you say facility, are you talking a building or fields? Or?
Unknown, but both are possibilities. It can be just outdoor fields. That's what they're looking at. So is it just outdoor fields? Is it just an indoor facility? Is it a combination of both? Is it two locations? Outdoor fields at one location and indoor facility at another location. So that's what they're looking at. And many of us, if you've had children who grow up in competitive sports, travel teams, what's the one that's close by? A private, one of these larger facilities. I forget the names, since my kids don't go to them.
Hungarian Club?
Spooky Nook. Or, yeah,
One in Warrington.
Across from
Nothing-
Wood.
Nothing, we're not, I don't think they're looking at that.
All-Star
something of that
Academy,
size.
there's one, and,
The one across from Wood, I forget what it's called.
yeah, there's one there too.
Yes. Yes. Yep. Yep. And then finally, Temple University Cancer Studies. So as reported a few months ago, before the state budget was adopted, Representatives Stevens, Schroeder, and Polinchek all requested the governor to consider putting in the new state budget $1.6 million that would go to Temple University to study the links between PFAS and cancer. That's something that the National Health Study is not looking at. So that's something that we've been talking about and lobbying for many years because we were disappointed that the National Health Study was not looking at cancer, links between cancer and PFAS. So good news, and of course, the General Assembly and Governor Wolf both agreed, and it was approved as part of the state budget that $1.6 million will go to Temple University Cancer Study to study links between PFAS and cancer. Nothing new on the timeline, and nothing new on the recap, except as you know, we have the safest drinking water, and all of our detection levels are below. All the levels are below detection levels in our public drinking water supply.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions? All right, moving on, we have our approval of minutes for June 9th and June 28th.
I move to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next is the treasurer's report.
Balance in the general fund as of June 30th, 2021 is $5,600,612.20. For the most part, the activity in all funds reflects budget expectations for June, with revenues in the general fund at 74.83% of budget and expenditures at 44.9% of budget. A total of 99.92% of the budgeted real estate taxes have been received. For a more detailed presentation of our current financial position, I would refer you to your monthly booklet.
Move to approve the list of checks in all funds in the amount of $500,534.47 and further move to authorize payment of the same. I also move to ratify the U.S. Bank credit card transactions for the month of June 2021 in the amount of $4,105.08.
Second.
Moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next, we're considering the ordinance on the Pico Energy Company. There's no questions. Do we have a motion on that?
I move to adopt the ordinance as proposed, granting an easement of Pico Energy Company along County Line Road on the Strawbridge property.
Second.
Moved and second, is a roll call vote.
Mr. Gallagher, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Hill Milborn, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Nesbitt, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Whiteside, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
And Mr. McCouch, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Next is consider another ordinance amending our zoning code for outside dining.
This evening, your consideration is to introduce the ordinance for outdoor dining. As council's aware, we've talked about this probably 8 or 10 years now. So whenever a restaurant or a new restaurant comes to town, they always have to, we don't allow outdoor dining by zoning code. So they always have to go to the zoning hearing board. And the decisions and orders that the zoning hearing board has granted historically, the vast majority all have the same conditions. Ballards, what time to shut down, no music. So what this ordinance will do is, what we did was we took all of those conditions that have historically, that council has wanted the zoning hearing board to consider, and the zoning hearing board has put them in their decisions and orders. We've built them into an ordinance that allows outdoor dining in the township, following those conditions. So if a restaurant or a new restaurant wants to have outdoor dining and they want to meet all those conditions, then they just get a permit from the code enforcement department. If they don't want to do one of those conditions or do something extra or something else, then they have to have a trip to the zoning hearing board. So you just
should
introduced.
streamline things a bit if.
Yeah, trying to be more
won't
business
delay
friendly.
people from
And
construction and things.
And
like
as we all learned from the pandemic, the restaurant industry has all changed. I mean, there's not a restaurant that's going to open without some type of outdoor dining.
Right, so, yeah. Okay, so we're just introducing it tonight.
Yes, sir.
We have two motions then, one to introduce the ordinance and one for the date.
Correct.
We have,
Introduce an ordinance as proposed to amend the zoning code to define outdoor dining area and to clarify where outdoor dining areas are permitted.
Second.
moved in second as a roll call vote.
Gallagher, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Hill Milborn, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Nesbit, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Whiteside, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Mr. McCouch, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Next is the time and place motion.
I moved, go ahead.
I move to adopt the resolution as proposed, establishing a time and place for a public hearing on the ordinance to amend the zoning code to define outdoor dining area and to clarify where outdoor dining areas are permitted. Monday, August 23rd, 2021, at 7 p.m. in the Horsham Township building.
Second.
Been moved in second, again a roll call vote.
Mr. Gallagher, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Hill Milborn, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Nesbit, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Whiteside, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
And Mr. McCouch, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, the next, we're going to consider another ordinance. We're amending our township code for the operation of hotels, motels, and inns.
As council's aware, our hotels are aging in Horsham, so we want them to stay nice for our visitors and our residents that use them. And tonight, again, you're just introducing the ordinance, and there will be a hearing to talk about and go through the ordinance of what it does. But it gives our police and our code enforcement some more tools to work with the hotels to make sure that the quality of the hotel stays up. And that's really what the ordinance is about. We want our older hotels to remain nice and attractive to visitors and our residents that have to use them.
Good, so we have two motions, one for the ordinance introduction and the other for the time and place.
I move to introduce an ordinance as proposed to amend the township codes to regulate the operation and maintenance of hotels, motels, inns, and other facilities which provide transient lodging.
Second.
Moved in second, and again a roll call vote.
Mr. Gallagher, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Hill Milborn, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Nesbit, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Whiteside, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
And Mr. McCouch, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Next.
I move to adopt the resolution as proposed, establishing a time and place for a public hearing on an ordinance to amend township codes to regulate the operation and maintenance of hotels, motels, inns, and other facilities which provide transient lodging, Monday, August 23rd, 2021, at 7:15 p.m. in the Horsham Township building.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, so roll call vote.
Mr. Gallagher, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Hill Milborn, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Nesbit, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Whiteside, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
And Mr. McCouch, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, do we have any additional business, sir?
Sir.
Harry?
I have nothing.
Anybody from the audience? All right, then, meeting adjourned. Everybody have a great evening.